This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Big D podcast on the Spunky Spectrum Sports Network. I am Alex, back for my weekly contribution. We had a little bit of a delay in our series here, previewing each division of the NFL, but we are back, we are better, and it is time to shine. Before we get too far started, please remember to follow or to subscribe on YouTube, like the video. Dylan's pushing out great content very, very consistently, and you don't want to miss what he has coming next. Also, if you are watching or I guess listening to these episodes via streaming service, make sure to follow along on Spotify and Apple Music. To bring in our host for the evening, whether he is running, whether he is biking, or whether he is creating lineups on DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports, it is the Big D himself. Dylan, welcome to your show, sir.
Thank you, Alex. Little vacation in Illinois this past week, but I'm back to work, and I can't think of a better division to talk about than the NFC West.
I mean, I can, but it's the NFC West today, and I'm excited to get into it. It's one division we haven't quite got to yet that I'm very excited for, but I think everyone knows which one that is.
Hey, when you think of the NFC West, you think rivalries, you think crazy games, you think you think young coaches, you think quarterbacks, and you think
championships.
Championships. And recently, this division's played in a lot of Super Bowls. All four of these teams have played at least one Super Bowl within the past 12, 15 years.
Yeah. It's definitely a competitive division. It's definitely a division that has had its fair share of success recently and historically. Obviously, the San Francisco 49ers are very up there when it comes to Super Bowl appearances and victories. So, it's a very historical division. It's a very relevant division to the current state of the NFL. And it's Division 4 teams I'm excited to get talking about.
So, speaking of Super Bowls, how about the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Los Angeles Rams, following up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by winning a Super Bowl in LA this past season?
Yeah, it's obviously Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers made history becoming the first team to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium, and Matthew Stafford and company said, why not us? So they followed up with the win in Los Angeles. And that really comes down to the question: is obviously the Rams are reigning Super Bowl champions. What do we have in store for this upcoming season?
Well, you mentioned Matthew Stafford, and when you think LA Rams offensively, you think Matthew Stafford and some guy from Eastern Washington. I can't remember his name. I think he caught like one or two passes, caught one or two touchdowns, and he only caught the game-sealing touchdown in the Super Bowl. His initials are CK. I don't know what his name is.
Is it Cooper Mugg?
No.
Is it Cooper Glass?
No.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Cooper Kupp must be who you're talking about.
Yes, that guy. I mean, when you think of wide receivers, is Cooper Kupp the best right now?
Oh, I mean, is he the best receiver in the NFL? I mean, as far as pure NFL talent at the position, it's no argument that he's top 3. Whether he hits the top 1, I mean, there's a lot of really talented receivers. I honestly, if you put Cooper Kupp at number 1 as at the top of your receiver list, I don't think you can get any hate for that. I think there's plenty of arguments for it. But also, if you put him at that 2 or 3 spot, I also think that there's a couple other guys in the NFL who are worthy of that spot as well. I can't full on commit to having Cooper Kupp as my number 1 receiver in the NFL, but he's no worse than 3. I'll tell you that much.
Wait a minute. Who would be your number 1 receiver?
I mean, it could. I don't even know. It very well could be Cooper Kupp. I think Justin Jefferson is a ridiculous talent, especially when it comes to. I mean, fantasy or real life football. I think Justin Jefferson is taking the league by storm. He's someone that obviously everyone was looking to draft in fantasy football this season, and as far as just regular football, but real football, the Minnesota Vikings sure love his talent as well. I mean, I think, I think Cooper Kupp, the one thing that kind of questions me just a tad, if I could take anything away from Cooper Kupp, it's just the fact that he really blew onto the scene this year. Obviously, it was a Super Bowl winning team, so that they are having the success to really boost up those numbers. But I want to see Cooper Kupp do it again. I want to see Cooper Kupp be that stalwart guy in the NFL that we fans enjoy watching, and fantasy football players enjoy drafting. I mean, I want to see him at the top of the game again this season. So if he can go out there this season and put up the same numbers as he was doing last year, or very similar, the same production, the same amount of contribution to that LA Rams offense, I think he will further solidify that number one spot. But I just, it's you got to prove it to me that you can consistently put up those numbers. But I think he definitely has the talent and the ability to make it happen.
Well, we talked about the Rams offense. How about the Rams defensively? Because there's no argument for me that Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in football. I don't think I've seen a player destroy a game like he did the second half of the Super Bowl. I mean, Aaron Donald just scares the bleeping, you know what I mean. I mean, we're probably too young to remember the late Reggie White when he dominated games, but Aaron Donald's so freaking good.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. Obviously, the Rams offense gets a lot of talk, but the defense gets so much talk too, because they're just, I mean, I would say Aaron Donald would probably be the number one person I would fear most if I saw in a dark alley when it comes to players in the NFL, or really just human beings in general. The man is massive. He is built like a mountain, and I do not want him to see him rushing my quarterback. And then you got to think also on the defense. I mean, you've got the absolute unit of Aaron Donald rushing your quarterback. So what do you think? Oh, you got to get the ball out quick. Well, then you got Jalen Ramsey on the boundary locking down your number one receiver. So it's just, whether you're going in the air or on the ground, that the LA Rams defense has someone to stop you all over the field.
So, in terms of the NFC's top teams, and I want a one-word answer here. All the Rams are favored to wind up in Glendale this coming February.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think as far as overall talent on the roster, both sides of the football, head coaching talent and ability there, it just seems like the LA Rams have the total package when it comes to what you're looking for in an all-around Super Bowl contending football team. Oh. Well, I don't know if you just got the notification I just got, but a certain team we're about to be talking about very shortly just has a little bit of breaking news, which very surprised me, but I will bring that up when we get to it. I'm going to change it up. Sorry, this just very surprised me. I'm switching this up, Dylan. I'm taking control of your show. We're going to start talking about the Seattle Seahawks. And we're going to start talking about the Seattle Seahawks mainly because of the tweet I just got. Ian Rappaport, as of now, just tweeted, Seattle Seahawks star running back Chris Carson is retiring from the NFL due to a neck injury, sources say.
Ooh.
Seattle will officially release him with a failed physical designation under the CBA that allows Carson to receive several million in injury protection benefits. Seattle does right by him. So the Seattle Seahawks were a team I was going to be talking about, or the team we were going to be talking about coming up. But I just feel like with this breaking news, it just leads us right into it. So what do you see from the Seattle Seahawks? Obviously, there's the massive storyline this offseason was the Russell Wilson move. What do you see coming out of Seattle this upcoming year?
Well, you go from a Hall of Fame leader, a leader, not just leader on the field, but away from the field. We see what Russ does in the community. But the Seattle Seahawks are not really going for 2022 or 2023. We know Seattle wants to set itself up for one of these quarterbacks, whether it be Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. The Seahawks don't have a lot that excites me on offense or defense. Maybe DK Metcalf, but Lord knows if he'll be next to go. Obviously, I like Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, whatever you pronounce his name by. I like him even more now that Chris Carson's gone. Lord knows, I mean, we know PK wants to run the ball and play good defense. And with Drew Lock and Geno Smith there, the Seahawks are going to have to run the ball. So Metcalf can make plays, but the Seahawks are not going to be a team that contends. Unlike the last decade or so, when Seattle was not only in the Super Bowl picture, but probably the team in the Super Bowl picture now. I mean, DK Metcalf, maybe Jamal Adams defensively. Other than that, Seahawks don't have much that intrigues me.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I would even go as far as saying I think the Seahawks are probably going to be the most forgettable team in the NFL this season. I look at that roster. Obviously, Russell Wilson is a legend. He's a active current legend in the NFL, and he has stamped his name in Seattle Seahawks history forever. However, the Russell Wilson era is now over. You always ask me this question, Dylan. Do you think the future quarterback for fill an NFL team here is currently on their roster or playing college ball or a free agent or whatever? I think the Seahawks probably have the easiest answer to that question in the NFL. As far as uncertainty at the quarterback position, Drew Lock has a chip on his shoulder coming from Denver. I think he feels that, he was good enough to at least get a look in Denver. Whether he's good enough to hold the starting job in Seattle long term, I mean, as far as long term after the season practically, because I'm not sure Drew Lock is the guy for the Seattle Seahawks. And other than DK Metcalf, it just screams boring to me. I mean, yes, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are a very solid wide receiver duo. But again, like you said, Pete Carroll wants to run the ball. And I was even going to say Chris Carson, honestly, and now I feel almost bad for saying it, but he's what they call a jag. I mean, Chris Carson is just a guy. He's a guy who gets you some production, but he's not going to be lighting up rushing records anytime soon. I see the Seattle Seahawks, and I think they're not going to be the worst team in the league, but they're not going to be contending for a playoff spot. I'm seeing 5 wins maybe, and just a very middle of the road, forgettable average team. I'm sorry, Seahawks fans, you have great fans, but this is not going to be the year that you are looking forward to as far as Seahawks football is concerned.
Where would the Seahawks go? I mean, we talked about the Rams being Super Bowl champs. I mean, could the Seahawks be? I mean, where would Seattle be on the worst team list with like Atlanta, the Jets, the Giants? What other teams would be in the mix?
The
Bears.
The Bears definitely have a shout. I think Jacksonville has a lot to prove to be able to. Houston for sure. I think the Eagles the Seahawks are probably, I would say, from those bottom dweller teams, a step above it, but it's the very next step up. I think they're not going to be a 2-win, 3-win team. I think when I look at the Seahawks this season, I think they have enough individual talent that can propel them to a win. I think Drew Lock can put a couple games together. I think DK Metcalf alone can go off for a monster game and win a game for the Seattle Seahawks. But again, I don't see them even 500 or really anywhere contending at all this season. I say they're a step above the bottom dwellers in the NFL, but it's the very next step up.
All right, we head from the great Northwest to Glendale, Arizona, where Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals are next on the list. Well, hopefully Kyler Murray isn't playing video games because he just got a fat new contract from Arizona. So Where does Kyler Murray rank in terms of young quarterbacks in football? Because you think of young quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow.
I think. Oh, sorry. I think Kyler Murray is. He's what you're looking for at the quarterback position in today's NFL. I mean, quarterbacks back in the day, obviously, you think about the pocket passers, you think about the gunslingers, you think about the guys who can throw 80 yards down the field and stand in the pocket and really just rifle. That's not the quarterback position in today's NFL. You're thinking about the Lamar Jacksons, you're thinking about the Patrick Mahomes, you're thinking about the Josh Allen, the guys who are athletes, the guys who also have a rocket on their arm but can hurdle a linebacker or run through a defensive end, or really just make the plays on in different assets of his game. And Kyler Murray is the exact definition of that type of player. I think Kyler Murray, I think the Cardinals have done a good job at surrounding him with talent. It is unfortunate of the DeAndre Hopkins performance-enhancing drug news. That's definitely going to hurt the Cardinals and Kyler Murray as well this season. But I do think Kyler Murray is definitely in that A-, B+, maybe not even B+, like A- tier of NFL quarterbacks. He's a guy that almost any team in the league would take as their franchise guy. He just inked a massive contract. He's going to be an Arizona Cardinal for a long time, and I think they've got a good one there. He's definitely at the top list of the tier of especially young and future quarterbacks in the NFL.
I've got a question. Would you rather have Kyler Murray or name me a random guy around Kyler in the quarterback rankings?
I mean, a guy, let me see, someone in the same ballpark, I would say would probably be, do you have Kyler Murray or Aaron Rodgers?
I would take Kyler.
Kyler, see that? I feel like that's one where a lot of people disagree with you, but I like the answer there. I mean, with all things considered.
And I wouldn't even think about it because I feel like Kyler's going into this spot. We know what Aaron Rodgers is. He won't take any chances. He'll throw to his guys. Kyler Murray can make one or two wild plays. Aaron Rodgers doesn't make plays now.
You're right. You're definitely right.
So here's an interesting question about Arizona.
Yep.
We've seen the Cardinals start off well the last 2-3 years and then fall off a cliff. I mean, that playoff game against Los Angeles was embarrassing. I mean, Kyler and the Cardinals looked like kids against the net. Was Cliff Kingsbury just there because Kyler Murray can run his air raid offense, or is Cliff Kingsbury capable of being maybe not a Super Bowl winning coach, but one of these young up-and-coming coaches like Sean McVay, like Zach Taylor, like Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco?
I feel like Cliff Kingsbury does have what it takes to be one of those kind of coaches. I think the Arizona Cardinals have done a great job at putting a team together, putting a roster together that can compete in that NFC. I mean, the NFC has been stacked for the last couple of years. I mean, it seems like, whether we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or whether we're talking about the LA Rams, it just seems like there's always just some big time powerhouses that are tough to get through in the NFC. And I think the Cardinals have done a good job of putting together a team that can compete in that conference. I think Cliff Kingsbury has what it takes. I think the Cardinals are a young team, and it's a team that still really trying. You're fine. A young team and a team that's still really trying to figure out exactly their role in the NFL, their mentality, their identity, I guess you can say. I think they're on the edge of that, and I think that this is going to be a good step forward. This upcoming season is going to be a good step forward to really test Cliff Kingsbury and see how he's able to work around a little bit of conflict. Obviously, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is one of the best athletes in the NFL. It's going to be a big loss. I mean, they lost Christian Kirk to Jacksonville. this last offseason. So I definitely think it's a little bit of a new look. The beginning of the season is going to be a little bit rocky without DeAndre Hopkins. I do think he's trying to appeal to get some games taken off of that suspension. But I think this is a big test for Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray to really see if they have a culture and if they have a true identity that they can have that next man up program that we've seen Bill Belichick, for example, preach in his time in New England for so long. It's really just about coming together as a team. The front office has done their job. They've got the talent on the roster to be able to compete. It's just a matter of putting the pieces together. And I do think Cliff Kingsbury is that guy who can do it. I think he is a good fit for that Arizona Cardinals offense. It just comes down to having the next man up, being able to really step in when your team needs you and get the job done on Sunday at the end of the day. But it is time to move on to the San Francisco 49ers. And I froze for a second in the middle of our last conversation because there is more breaking news out of the NFL about the NFC West. This about the San Francisco 49ers. Adam Schefter just tweeted, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan met this morning with Jimmy Garoppolo. The three men talked, and after Shanahan told reporters, we have moved on to Trey. That changes some things that I was planning on talking about, but now we know the San Francisco 49ers are going to be leaning on Trey Lance as their starting quarterback this upcoming season. What do you think that means for the San Francisco 49ers? Do you think they're going to have those growing pains, or do you think Trey is ready to step in and lead these San Francisco 49ers?
I think Trey Lance is going to be one of the most interesting players in the NFL this year because basically he did not play his last season in college football. And you could argue 2021 was basically a throwaway because Lance was barely on the field, especially. I mean, yeah, he started played a few games, but we didn't see a lot of Lance. This year, Trey Lance is going to have huge expectations on him. I know Kyle Shanahan's a run-first coach. San Francisco wants to run the ball, and not just with Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel, but now with Trey Lance. Lance intrigues me because he has got a rocket arm. He can run like the demons. But his accuracy, well, could be better. With the talent around the talent around him, Trey Lance doesn't have to be Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes. If he could be like Josh Allen. Remember when Josh Allen started that playoff game against Houston a few years ago? He looked like he didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
I mean, but Trey Lance got a lot of talent, and I think with San Francisco, we're going to see whether or not they made their investment in Lance, because if Lance performs well, it was a good move getting him at number 3. If not, maybe Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch will be wrong in taking Lance, because they could have taken Justin Fields, they could have taken Mac Jones, and NFC West, where every game matters. You've got big-time rivalries. Seems like San Francisco has got LA's number. We're going to see whether Lance can play, because I love this San Francisco team on paper with Mitchell, Kittle, Deebo, Brandon Ayuk, and then defensively with Nick Bosa, and maybe the best middle linebacker in football in Fred Warner. The 49ers are ready to make a run. And if Trey Lance what we think he is capable of doing, the 49ers can be in that Super Bowl bubble.
See, this is where we're going to disagree, Dylan. I have had a feeling about these San Francisco 49ers for the last couple months, and it seems like every day, my feelings seem to justify themselves. I might be more down on the San Francisco 49ers than anyone I've seen. And I will explain why. So the San Francisco 49ers have been in the NFC Championship game 2 of the last 3 seasons. When I look at that San Francisco 49ers team, I see the talent. I see the talent you're talking about. Obviously, they've got some great pieces on defense. It's one of the better defenses in the NFL, and they also have some weapons on offense. But for whatever reason, I just see a disconnect there that I don't know. I see a disconnect there that just I'm not seeing every piece clicking for me. When I think of the teams who are consistently making it into the championship games, I'm thinking about the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm thinking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm thinking about recently the LA Rams. And I think the 49ers have a lot of question marks. As much talent as they have as many question marks matching it. Yes, they have Deebo Samuel, but Deebo Samuel requested a trade within the last couple of months. Deebo Samuel doesn't want to play running back, where he was probably the league's most best and creative hybrid player last season. He doesn't want to play running back this season. He says, "I'm a receiver. I want to play receiver." He's got the trade request out there. He doesn't want to play receiver anymore. There's going to be a question mark there. Then it comes to the quarterback position. Jimmy Garoppolo was leading the team last season. Is Jimmy Garoppolo a franchise guy? I don't think so. Obviously, now the San Francisco 49ers don't think so either. So you're going to Trey Lance. You're looking at a young quarterback who hasn't gotten very much opportunity. With that, you have to assume there's going to be growing pains. Yes, do I think Trey Lance has the potential and has the ability to be a top quarterback in the NFL? As I was saying earlier, the NFL quarterback position is all about creativity, all about mobility, all about making plays. Trey Lance definitely has that ability to make that happen. But still, it's coming. The NFL is such a different ballgame. You just don't know with rookie quarter. I mean, he's not a rookie anymore, but with young quarterbacks, I just see a lot of question marks. Mike McDaniel is gone. I think he had a lot to do with the creativity that we saw out of that San Francisco offense last season. They lost some speed in the running back room with Raheem Mostert following Mike McDaniel to Miami. I just see a lot of question marks, and I know I'm taking a little bit of time here, but I see a lot of question marks with the San Francisco 49ers, and I don't see them as a playoff lock. I see them on the outside going into the playoffs this season. It might be a hot take, but we will see this upcoming season if that stands up.
Alex, we know why you want San Francisco out of the playoffs, because Miami's got San Francisco's draft pick.
Obviously, that does help, but there's thought into this. It's not just the biasness as a Miami Dolphins fan. There is backing thoughts going into that argument.
All right.
But you go into it. It's all you.
All right. It's trivia time. So you know what that means. I tried to find a good NFC West trivia question for you, and I found one that you will not get. And if you get this, I'm doing 5 minutes of playing some more.
All right.
Okay. What future NFC West team beat the Dallas Cowboys in the 1998 NFC wildcard game?
Can you say that again?
What future NFC West team beat the Dallas Cowboys in the 1998 NFC wildcard game?
What future NFC West team beat the Cowboys in the 1998 NFC wildcard game? What future NFC? Is a team joining the NFC West that I'm unaware of? You said future NFC West team?
They were different divisions in 98.
Oh, okay.
There were only 3 divisions. The Jaguars were in the AFC Central then. There was no AFC South.
And the Colts were in the AFC East.
Yeah.
So what future AFC West team?
NFC West team.
Yeah. I am going to say 1998. My gut is just telling me the 49ers, so that's what I'm gonna have to go with.
Oh, thank goodness, Arizona.
Arizona, damn.
That was the Cardinals' first playoff win since 1947 when the team was in Chicago.
Wow. Yeah, no planks for you, Dylan. Do you who was the starting quarterback for the Cardinals? Do you know at the time?
Jake the Snake Plummer.
Jake Plummer. Wow, that is a throwback name right there.
Hey, man. Hey, at least he ended up better than Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, you're right about that. I feel like Jake
Okay.
Plummer's mostly known for his Broncos days, but I forgot he
And
even played.
and his hairstyle.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, one more. Who wins the NFC West?
The Rams.
LA. And
Yeah.
I even bet, but I don't know if the bet will be legal now, but I took the Rams at plus 125.
Wow. I think that is great odds, and I think whatever money you put in, I think your money is in good hands with Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and company.
Just don't just end up in Glendale again.
Yeah. Now here's the bet you should have placed: Arizona to finish second in the division over the San Francisco 49ers. I wonder what the odds are on that one.
We'll see. But thanks for hopping on, Alex. Get back into it. NFC West. So we're getting closer and closer to talking about your. I'm not even going to say what team they are.
Yes, sir. It's almost time everyone knows what we're talking about. But thank you for having me on the show again, Dylan. It's been a pleasure. It's been nice getting back into it, and I'm looking forward to our next conversation.